would you do if keeping your job meant betraying your values and your integrity? This feels like it should be an easy answer, yet so many employees find themselves in this very difficult dilemma. And that is exactly where our guest, Stacy Heisey Terrell, found herself. Welcome to the Brave Rebellion podcast. I'm Tammy Dunnett, your host, leadership communication skills coach, and I know personally how uncomfortable and challenging these moments can be and how to find your way through them in a way that you come out graceful on the other end. My guest today, Stacy Heisey Terrell, is a career ownership coach who knows firsthand what it means to choose integrity over security. When faced with the impossible choice between protecting her job or standing for the truth, Stacy chose courage. And that brave decision set her on a path to create a career and life rooted in freedom, possibility, and purpose. Welcome, Stacy.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm glad to be here.
Yeah. So, Brave Rebellion, we're all about dissecting these moments that have been pretty pivotal in our lives. And the one that you shared with me sounds extremely pivotal. So, for our listeners, why don't you give us the synopsis of what the situation was before you had to make the decision?
Sure. Well, my career is in human resources. So before I was a coach as an HR director, and I was working in the American branch of a German-based company. And I was their first HR person. They didn't have a lot of rigor around legal compliance or human resources. So I was bringing that to the branch and was working directly with a 3-person leadership team running the American side.
So, when you said you're the first American HR,
Mm-hmm.
they already had American employees.
Yes.
And they had been relying on another national HR person to govern that, or?
They were sort of making it up as they went along. So they got to the point where they hit they had about 120 employees when I joined. So it was becoming, they needed real benefit program and a real payroll program and all that good stuff.
So part of the expansion and the growth process.
Yes. And we were doing lots of recruiting too. So we were growing. Yeah.
Okay. So you come into this organization, you find there's not a lot of rigor. You start to put some policies and practices into place, I'm assuming.
Yes. And became the kind of the go-to. I had a local American legal resource. He reported to me, and I kind of became the point person for a lot of the compliance, American legal compliance.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So you're chugging along in this job. I'm assuming things are going well for a little while. And then what happens?
And then the company started to hit some bumps in the road with some of the contracts. So we were a scientific consulting firm, and a couple of our contracts were having some issues. And we didn't really understand exactly what was happening. We had just hired an accounting manager, and she started digging into some of the practices behind some of the contracts and found issues. So, yeah. So
as one does when they go digging for things.
Digging, right? I don't understand all the accounting stuff, but
yeah.
I got pulled in because we have employees involved, and if we shrunk a contract, that would impact personnel. And so we were trying to make some plans and got a lot of denials from our leadership team, which seemed odd at first. We were like, maybe we're missing something. Again, I'm not the numbers person, right?
Yeah.
So then, that kind of went on for a while. We thought, oh, well, okay, we'll defer to you guys because, maybe we don't know. And then the American leadership team started wanting to see my HR monthly report that usually went straight to Germany, and the accounting reports that went straight to Germany. And so again, we're like, okay. So we were running things through them. And then I was talking with the controller, the company controller, who was based in Germany, about something. And I'm like, that just didn't jive with what I was seeing. And so like, hang on. And he goes, well, your report. And then we realized that my report had been manipulated
Mhm.
through them as it went to the parent company. So,
Well, well, well.
well. So then that was an issue. Then we had him pull the accounting report, some of the normal, we sent a payroll report, like some of these normal things. And we're realizing that they were either pieces were missing or they were manipulated. They were very rosy colored and not, we felt like, oh, we have some concern. We probably need to start watching certain things.
A
And
little misleading, it sounds like.
much rosier
Okay.
than the actual situation. Yeah.
Wow, this is huge. This is huge.
Yeah. So again, we kind of gave the benefit of the doubt. I was lucky enough to have a buddy in this with me, the accounting manager and I. And we questioned them, what are we trying to do? Like what's really going on, and just got a lot of stonewalling.
Hmm.
So that caused us to do some more investigating, and we found that some expenses that weren't supposed to be expensed had been expensed. They'd been named different things, like that all that stuff that gets people in trouble, right?
I'm just, I don't want to say this is the moral of the story, but you bring up an interesting concept. It sounds like you were trying to be curious before furious. Like, hey guys, what's going on? What is the
Right,
goal? Do you want us to reshape this data so that it fits your needs, but not like lie about the data?
right,
And
right,
had they just engaged in an honest conversation with you, you likely wouldn't have investigated much deeper.
right.
If you'd had a dialogue back
Yeah.
and forth, like for anyone who is listening, if ever someone's asking you for information, just give them information.
Stop acting
Because then,
suspicious, and the
yes,
suspicions will just kind of like, oh, I guess I didn't understand. Okay,
it's like
great.
they created the conditions for you to go, something's not right here. So you
There's
dig deeper.
something bigger going on. Um,
Oh, gosh.
yes. So the accounting manager and I worked with the German controller. We pulled a bunch of data and we presented it to the president, who is in
Okay.
Germany. Um, he did not he did not want an American problem, so he was not happy that we were bringing this up, and then gave the leadership team a chance to rebut, which they did. And because that was a little easier, he had other irons in the fire, he went with their version. And we were like, uh okay.
Yeah.
um
So
yeah.
what did that leave you thinking? It sounds like this is where the integrity starts to bubble to the surface.
Yes. So I had been thinking when I took this job, I was thinking we're expanding in America. I had a chance to be we were gonna have satellites in Brazil, and I was gonna be the HR person of the Americas. So I was very
Mm-hmm.
excited to grow and thought that I was kind of on the inside. And this very much, these instances and these conversations that we kept having very much told me I was not on the inside. I was on the outside.
Mm-hmm.
So our accounting manager got laid off. Um, we'll use air quotes, laid off. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't counseled on that. I didn't put usually your HR director is involved in a
In a layoff?
termination, right?
Yeah.
And kind of a friend of one of the leaders handled all of that. And in fact, they went around me even to cut her final check, and locked me out of her file. So, um, very fishy. At that point, I started talking to my husband about, oh gosh, like
Yeah.
I am probably not long for this world either. Like, what do we do? So, started kind of having those conversations of, my husband directs a food pantry, so he's, clearly a millionaire. We had kids at home, a house, a car, all the
Yeah.
stuff.
Typical
And
conversations when you're worried about losing an income.
right. And then very soon after and I expressed, I'm not comfortable with this. You hired me to keep you out of legal trouble, and I think we're asking for more trouble, and you're not letting me do my job. These conversations. Um, had a conversation with the president where he said, Stacy, we value your work. We want you on board. And if you can't be on board, you got to get out. And I said, well, I am on board. That's why I'm telling you about these things happening.
Yeah. So
Right.
on board in that moment meant two different things.
Mm-hmm.
Their definition of on board was not the same as your definition of on
For
board.
sure. For
You're
sure.
like, I am here to keep you guys out of legal trouble.
Yeah.
I am on board. I am
Yes.
committed. I am loyal.
Mm-hmm.
And they were asking something different of you.
Yes. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Which I really, I think sometimes we get in these situations and it's very puzzling because it seemed to me very much in the company's interest, in the employee's interest,
Mm-hmm.
that we would do a certain thing, and they didn't want to do it. There was a second version going on, or a second conversation going
Mm-hmm.
on that felt really, caused a lot of dissidence. And I think other leaders in the company felt that, even though they didn't know exactly what was happening. So I think, like, sometimes we see those ripples when things are not right.
Yeah. Now, what were those conversations really like with yourself? Because I am just energetically, I'm feeling like there was a lot of F bombs dropped and there was a lot of frustration and
Yeah.
there was just a lot of like, oh my God.
Yeah. Yes. So
Which,
yeah.
by the way, I do love a good F word, so I am not afraid of swearing. I just wasn't sure if you were. I didn't check in with you first.
a well-placed F-bomb can
Yeah.
communicate volumes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I think I'm an HR person, so I'm kind of a rule follower by profession, by trade. And it just felt so wrong, and I was so upset. Why are they
Mm-hmm.
listening to these guys and not me? And had a lot of that, like, did I do this wrong? Am I really am I being naive? Am I seeing the whole picture? How did I get in this spot?
Mm-hmm.
Why can't I be a person to just keep my mouth closed?
Mm.
Lots of those conversations with myself of, like, why can't I go along? Like, it would just gave me the heebie-jeebies, right? Yeah, like, you just can't do it at some point.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and so I
That's
think,
kind of
like,
when that's when the dilemmas start to surface about,
yeah,
can I just get along to go along and keep this job that I had envisioned? I'd get to be this HR lead of the
yeah,
Americas, and
yeah.
what that meant for you in terms of career progression and
Mhm,
status and
mhm.
responsibilities, maybe,
Yeah,
versus,
exactly.
can I actually do this? Like, is that out of
Right,
alignment with who I am? Mm-hmm.
right, right. What am I gonna do? And yeah, when you start falsifying reports, like that just, it feels really big.
Yeah.
Um, and I have I have 4 daughters, that I'm setting an example for, like, I'm a
Hmm.
community member, all those things, like, can I live with myself? Can
Yeah.
I continue to, speak into my kids' lives if I'm willing to fudge numbers and go along? Um,
How long do you think you were in that struggle? Like from when you first started to notice that these things were happening?
mhm.
Because people don't just leave overnight. And I know this is a
Yeah,
real dilemma for
yeah,
people.
yeah. It felt like 100 years,
Hmm.
but I think probably a good 6 months from kind of the first, like, what is going on, to they invited me to leave, um, was about 6 months.
Hmm.
So it probably been going on longer. My eyes became open. um,
Yeah.
you know,
Well, I mean, that's quite telling when you said it felt like it could have been 100 years. Like there was a lot
yeah,
of agony with this.
yeah,
What
yeah.
was the impact on your life outside of work?
Um, just tremendous anxiety, right?
Hmm.
So I just was consumed with work, and some of the punishments that I was receiving for, not being a happy warrior were increased workload. So I had to travel. I was working weekends. I just had more to do, and
Hmm.
um, and then when the accounting manager was let go, I had her staff was reporting to me. I'm not a numbers person. So that was super challenging. Felt, so more resources needed there, lots of learning. So yeah, I just wasn't home very much. And when I wasn't sleeping,
Yeah. Well,
upset,
and
lots of
I
challenges.
think that's a part of these dilemmas that people don't often talk about.
Yeah.
Like we suffer in silence a lot. And in particular, I've noticed women, we just are always trying to connect the dots since, our mind never rests. It's really challenging to find a quiet moment to kind of think through it without all
Yes.
the distraction and the noise.
Yes,
Mhm.
yes, yes, kids running around, and yeah, life doesn't stop or slow down. You still have to do all the
No.
laundry and grocery shop and all that good stuff too. Yeah.
Yeah, but even while doing that, it sounds like those thoughts of like
It's in
work
there.
were
Yeah.
intrusive.
What am I doing? Yeah.
Yes.
Like, why is corporate America trying to kill me? Like, what did I do to you? Yeah, why are you guys trying to kill
Yeah.
me?
It's a real struggle to be in that space.
Mhm, mhm.
So then walk us through the days coming up to I always talk about the brave moment as this like moment, but I do recognize it is, a lot of pieces contribute to the decision and the
Yeah,
action.
yeah.
Walk us through now the days or the moments before you decided to step in and what that brave thing was.
Um, yeah, I think I just really was able to see clearly what the alternative was, and it was just super unappealing to me. That, like,
Mm,
putting on a different face, um, it felt kind of grungy, the lying, or lying to employees, or not advocating. I really saw my job as being an advocate, and it just, I think, kind of coming to that head of, I don't want to be this.
mhm,
And I still thought in my heart, like, people want to do the right thing, right? So if I tell them, if I'm brave and I have evidence, even if I'm off, they'll do the right thing, and I
mhm.
wouldn't be punished for being honest and raising a concern.
Yeah,
So I think that too, some naivete, right? Of, like, yeah, no, people kind of do the wrong thing a lot, um, to protect themselves. So I think those two things made it like, yeah, I don't want to be this icky person. This feels really bad. why, we should celebrate when people tell the truth or
Mhm.
shine a spotlight. So,
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
right?
Organizations really do need to pay attention to the voices, the ones who are strong enough to come forward with a concern. Like they actually
Right?
do have the company's interest at their best intention.
Yeah.
They're not just
Yeah.
saying it to
Yeah.
make y'all
Right.
feel afraid. They're like, this is a real thing. We need to talk
Right.
about it. Yeah. Okay. So were you sitting in your office? Were you sitting at home, like having your coffee and you just go, I'm not doing this anymore? What happened?
Yeah, I was driving to work and then
Mm-hmm.
got to work. Germany, I'm on the East Coast. Germany was 6 hours ahead. So by the time I got into my office, I knew they were there and I was like, okay, I need a meeting. Like, we
So you
need a
called
meeting,
one?
right? And they're like, okay. So put me off for a couple days, and then I drugged the accounting manager in with me. We had all our stuff and had this meeting, and then it like very quickly. When you're in those meetings, like you can feel like, oh no, the bridge is out, but the train is still going. Like, oh, whoops, this is not ideal, right? So we could feel we don't want this information. We'll take it. We'll do some checking, and then our follow up was really, um, yeah, we don't. You guys are just being problem makers,
Mm-hmm.
troublemakers, and you don't get it. So even when we press, like, well, how do we explain this or what is this? Um, we're just very much told, like, you don't need to worry about it. It's like, okay. Again, the suspicious behavior, right? Like,
Yeah.
that does make me worried. So we just kept digging and finding more stuff.
Oh,
And
okay.
yeah, and then um, the accounting manager was super brave. She should be on here with you, and very vocal about it. I tend to be like, let's come to an understanding. Let's talk it out. There's got to be a way.
The
HR,
win-win.
right?
Mm.
Win-win. And so, like, within a week, she was let go. She was out, and so
Mm-hmm.
they like put her stuff in a bag on the curb, like like she was
So when
out.
she left, what were you thinking?
I was like, okay. Oh, and I asked, I'm like, well, what's happening with me? We're not sure yet. I'm like, okay. They still needed me to, and I think they thought they could work with me.
Mm.
So then I got that impression too.
Were
Stacy,
you willing to work with them?
not to lie, yeah,
Okay.
but I think, like, I felt like, okay, yeah, if we have an issue and we need to then start dealing with the issue. I've terminated executives before. I've dealt with that. Like, I've had security involved, so I was like, okay, like they need me to
Mm-hmm.
help with that. And then, you know, after a couple weeks, I started getting the picture. We think we can work with you is really that you'll go along. You have kids. I even had that in one of the calls. The president said, "Don't you have kids?" I'm like, "Yes." Yes. So,
So bringing that up as a reminder, like you have
like a little
responsibilities and you
leverage,
need this job.
right? Like, you need
Mm.
this job. And so, just, and I think kind of, when you're in the midst of it, at least for me, like, a lot of
It's
things
hard.
didn't dawn on me, right?
Yeah.
Like, but then later you start putting it together of like, oh, this was really icky. Like, this was really not
Yeah.
how you want to treat people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And
It's like juggling. It's just juggling our values, right? So when you're in it, there's a part of you. What I'm hearing is saying like, I thought I could make the change. thought if I brought in the information, I showed them the
Bring
facts,
them round. Yeah.
and that's a very logical
Uh-huh.
conclusion
Yeah.
to make, right?
Yeah.
Like, I'm this professional, I'm hired to do this, I'm supposed to be
Mhm.
protecting the company, and here's the information. Like, let
Yeah.
me help you.
Yeah. Yes.
And that just wasn't received as you had hoped.
No. And so it was hostile for a while and then it was very quiet. I got kind of
Hmm.
iced out. And again, in hindsight, like they were hiring my replacement and working through all the details. So then I was laid off, but they
Hmm.
immediately replaced me. So, and I had to stay and train my replacement. They hung my severance over
Over that.
to do that. Um,
Hmm.
yeah, so that was a good time. When your replacement's like, I'm not sure why you're leaving, and I'm like, oh,
You'll know. You'll soon find out.
I'm like, you got to ask somebody else about that, not me. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm just gonna give you the keys to the cabinet. Yeah.
So, I think so many people who do choose integrity over whatever else is being presented
Mhm,
to them, and they stand in the truth and they advocate for the truth and they present the facts in service of the organization. It's not
mhm,
self-serving.
mhm,
Like,
mhm,
it takes a big risk to put yourself out there and say, hey,
mhm,
no, we're not doing this right. We need to look at this.
mhm.
I do think so many people, myself included, find themselves out of work.
Yeah, yeah,
It's a very real consequence of choosing integrity first over security.
yeah, yes.
And so here you are in the same spot that so many people who are listening are gonna, they
Right.
this is why they debate it. This is why they stay for so long, because security is a very real thing.
Yeah. Mhm.
Financial stability.
Yep.
Here you are now.
Yes.
Take us through the first few days, moments after that. What was going on with you?
Um, so my last day, I find this hysterically funny. So we would always run payroll the last day of the month. So they had me stay through October 31st, Halloween. So I was running payroll with my replacement, and we had an issue with the bank account and had to do all this extra stuff. And I didn't get home. So, again, I have little kids dressed up for Halloween,
Hmm.
ready to go trick or treating. I went to work at 6 a.m. that day to get everything done so I could leave. I was thinking by noon, right? I could see that Halloween parade, do the whole shebang. At 7 p.m., I finally was like, you guys, I'm leaving. Like, I can't.
Wow.
I can't. So I was like, you have to give me my paperwork and I have to leave. So yeah, it was exhausting. Kind of those final moments.
Hmm.
And still, even I kept kind of thinking, oh, they're going to change their mind, or they'll see that I'm being very professional, or they'll appreciate my integrity, or that I've been honest, or that I'm still being a really hard worker. I'm still working every Saturday of my notice. And there was no appreciation for that. No, you know, no
No.
consideration, right? And so then I was just really mad. I was so mad leaving that place, and just worried and mad. Um, and uh, quite a few times, like my husband would, I'm like, I'm gonna go do something stupid, right? Like I'm gonna go toilet paper their cars in the parking lot, or I'm gonna write an op-ed in the paper. I'm gonna post it on LinkedIn. And he's
Yeah.
like, "Oh my God, you do have to work again." Like now this
Yeah.
is veering back onto you, right? So finding ways to again just work through those feelings was
Hmm.
really challenging.
They're
Um,
very real. Hmm.
yeah. And I think after any termination, any layoff, like you don't have good perspective. It's it's a lot of what could I have done different? Am I wrong? Why did this happen to me? It's not happening to other people. What's wrong with
Mhm.
and
Gaslight
so
ourselves.
yes, yes.
Mhm. Mhm.
So I think, being involved in lots of layoffs up to then, I tried to take some of my own advice and get people around me and put myself in community, right, with people that would say, no, no, it's the right thing to be honest. No, you have skills. You're going to get another job. Don't freak out. Um,
Yeah. I don't
so
think people realize the harm that toxic workplaces, and
yeah,
I often refer to toxic, not TOXIC, but TALK, talk sick,
yeah, yeah,
because communication is a big
yeah,
problem.
yes.
But I don't think people realize how damaging that is to our
Hmm.
sense of self, to
Hmm.
our sense of balance, to our integrity, to our,
Hmm.
was I right? We do gaslight ourselves to a point of exhaustion,
Yeah,
trying
yeah,
to look for the answer because we want to connect the dots, but there's no
yeah,
connecting the dots in a
yeah.
toxic workplace.
No, it's not rational, right? So you can't
No.
use logic and rationale to determine, what was
Yeah.
the good guy should win, but that
Doesn't
doesn't
always.
happen a lot of times, right?
Yeah.
And it
And
hurts
it's
our heads.
frustrating as hell.
Yeah, right?
It's
Like, where are the white
maddening
hats? Come on.
because
Yeah.
aren't we told that we're supposed to get that kind of life, When you're
Yes.
young, we're told that, right? Be honest. Integrity means something, your name means something, and then you get in these
Yes.
places where some you're like, what, it doesn't mean anything?
Yeah, like what's the point? And
Yeah.
yeah, and I think, in my practice I often work with professionals who have been through that. Like, that is just such a common theme of, like, I have worked hard, I got
Mhm.
the degrees, I got the certifications, I went to all the things they were supposed to do, I gave up my nights and weekends. Now where's the prize? And it's like,
Yeah.
a
There
lot
isn't
of
one.
times there isn't.
For most of the population, I don't think there is one.
There isn't. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so how do we, scrape back some of that control? To, I started my own business. Um,
Yeah.
Took me a couple more failures to start my own business, but uh,
Yeah.
and that, it's like, yes, well, being honest is top priority for my business because that's what my boss likes, right? Um, so
I think there's an important moment in every person's life when they are faced with this decision and they choose integrity and they find themselves in an unfortunate place as a result of that. We go through the whole questioning, but then there's like a rebirth. There's a recommitment to it or something. That's my experience. What is your experience? Because here you are unemployed
mhm,
now.
mhm.
How did you consolidate your integrity with your current status and move forward?
Yeah, I think, yeah, I completely agree. And I think, for me, it was a reevaluation and a recommitment to what really are the values that I hold for my career. You know,
Mhm.
is it the job title or the salary or the traveling to Europe? Like, is it those things, or is it being able to be myself, being appreciated for what I bring to the table? Like, is that more important than being on the ladder?
Yeah.
And for me, like that, you know, being knocked off and then having the ladder repossessed was very much like, yeah, you know what? I don't know that I really care to live like that. Like, I think maybe that's not for me. And
Mhm.
and this was a real, wake up call to, okay, what else? what
And
else?
your body was giving you the signs before
Yeah,
that. Like intuitively you knew you weren't
yeah,
sleeping well. You're
yeah,
ruminating.
yeah.
You're like every part of your life had been touched by this complication, by this lack of alignment.
Yes,
And
yes.
so many times we overlook that because security
Yeah.
is what our focus is on. We become so narrowly focused on I need the income or the job or the whatever it is that we don't take in the full experience.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah. And the entrepreneur source, my business, we call it battered career syndrome,
Hmm.
because like a battered spouse, right? Where
Yes.
you believe this is the only way to
Yeah.
live. Like I have to put up with all this stuff, and you're kind of you're just locked in to
Yeah.
not to that one way instead of being creative or
Mhm.
open to, like, well, gosh, lots of people live a lot of different ways and seem happy, why not you? Like,
Yeah. So we know that the Brave Act cost you your job. We could probably make that correlation.
yes.
What else do you think it cost you? And what did it give you?
Yeah, I think it did cost me um, that corporate track, that I felt like I was very much on my way
Mm.
to being a vice president. I had that dream, it was very big in my head, and the salary and all the perks that come with that. But just the pride and prestige that came with that
Yeah.
title, and I think it was not truly my dream. Like somehow that had gotten in my head and what I was working for, and then it was like, I don't know that that's really me. Um,
Well, I
and
wonder if that's partly because the track that you were on to get to that meant you had to sacrifice who you were in that company,
yes, yes,
right? If you were
very
in a
much.
different company where that wasn't the threshold,
Yeah,
it might have still been a dream.
possibly. Yeah. And I had
Mhm.
left kind of a toxic workplace to come to that, because I'd been kind of locked out of other promotions and had a really overbearing boss. Um, and so I felt like, oh, okay, I'm out from under the lid is taken off, and now I can really, you know,
Mhm.
really shine. And
Yeah.
so I think that's hard coming to grips with, like, oh, I've been working towards this thing for many, many career years, and I've given up a lot of family time, a lot of friend time, personal time, just tons of time and resources for this goal. And
Mhm.
I think being able to kind of grieve that, like, yeah, okay, that's not going to happen. Like,
Mhm.
and then being able to rejoice, the thing that I got from that was, oh, okay, there there are lots of other options. Like there are lots of other ways to live, to find that security, to provide for my family, to be satisfied in my
Mhm.
career and what I'm doing. There isn't just one way.
Yeah.
And so feeling like, oh, the blinders are kind of take, or like, oh, I get to see the rest of the pasture, right? Like,
Yeah.
let's explore.
Mhm.
So,
That's amazing. So, we know things have turned out good for you, which isn't always the case, to be honest. It's not
yeah,
always the case for
yeah,
people who choose integrity and
yeah.
find themselves in these situations. So, share with us what has transpired since you chose integrity over security.
Yeah. So I got, laid off right before the pandemic
Mm.
kicked off. So that was, but I had a chance to work for my local government during the pandemic and during a pretty crazy election season, vaccination rollout. I had experiences that I never dreamed that I would get to do. And then I worked from home for a while and got to I still work from home, but get to be here when my kids come home from school and hear
Mm-hmm.
the debrief over snacks. And so, and then I found my way to business ownership and the entrepreneur source. Um, and now my work time is working with people who are going through this struggle. So I feel like that very much is my reward to get to like, okay, we could take the blinders off. Like there are other ways. You don't have to believe this, right?
Yeah.
You can get out if you want to get out. And so that's I feel like it's taken a few years, but my life values mission has joined up with my career mission,
Mm.
and it's super satisfying. Like I like coming to work. And I like
I like
being,
working for me.
I like working for
Yes.
me, right? And seeing my
Yeah.
kids and hanging out with my husband and working Saturdays if
Yeah.
I want to work Saturdays. Yeah. So it's worked out.
It sounds like for you, the bravest rebellion, if I were to summarize what you just shared,
Mm-hmm.
is that staying true to yourself was your brave rebellion.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
And I think often when we choose integrity, we think that guarantees security, but it does not.
No, no.
But what
And
integrity does guarantee us is alignment.
yes,
And for me, that's a far more peaceful and happy lifestyle.
I totally agree. 100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
That really being true to yourself or being able to be authentic about and back in control of what you will do or you won't do, um, I
Yeah.
think is is terrifying. It takes a lot of bravery to take the wheel in those situations, but can be so satisfying,
Mm-hmm.
to feel like, oh my goodness, yeah, it is fun
Yeah.
to be in charge of what I do in this moment.
Yeah. And I think entrepreneurship is definitely one option. For
Yeah.
those who prefer the more conservative path and would like to work for somebody, like, let's be real, being an entrepreneur
Yeah.
is not for the
Not
faint of
for
heart. It is
everybody.
a lot
No.
of work.
Yes.
Um, but even for those who are like, can I find another job? Is there another place out there for me? Don't let fear keep you in a place that hurts you.
Yes. Right. Because again, there are so many options. And I think really figuring out what is it for you, what really are
Yeah.
your goals and your values, and then how do you find an environment then it
Yeah.
enables that and doesn't, you know, yank you around,
Yeah.
whatever that environment is. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, I want to thank you for being here.
Tammy, it was so good to talk to you.
Yes, thank you. Your story is a powerful reminder that sometimes the bravest choice is the one. Sometimes, I'm going to say this one again. Cut that one. Your story is such a powerful reminder that sometimes the bravest choice is the one that will cost us the most in the moment,
Yeah.
but gives us back our integrity, our peace, and our freedom. So thank you for sharing your story.
Thank you. Thanks for the webcast too. We need to hear more stories like this for sure.
Yes. Awesome. And for our listeners, I leave this reflection for you. If you are facing your own crossroads, whether it's integrity versus another concept or value, then staying true to yourself is the bravest rebellion that you can do. As always, stay in conversation and stay in the brave. Thanks for listening.